Haplogroup R1b, also known as Haplogroup RM343, is the most frequently occurring Y chromosome haplogroup in Western Europe, as well as some parts of Russia, Central Asia and Central Africa. R1b also reaches high frequencies in the Americas and Australasia, due largely to immigration from Western Europe. There is an ongoing debate regarding the origins of R1b subclades found at significant levels among some Native Americans. It is also present at lower frequencies throughout Eastern Europe, Southwest Asia, as well as parts of North Africa and South Asia. These represent two very successful twigs on a much bigger family tree. Nomenclature: R1b, R1b1, and so on are phylogenetic, or family tree-based names which explain the branching of the family tree of R1b. For example, R1b1a and R1b1b would be branches of R1b1, descending from a common ancestor. This means that these names can change with new discoveries. The alternative way of naming haplogroups is to refer to the SNP mutations used to define and identify them. For example, RM343, which is equivalent to R1b. Haplogroup R1b is in other words now identified by the presence of the single nucleotide polymorphism mutation M343, which was discovered in 2004. From 2002 to 2005, R1b was defined by the presence of the SNP named P25. Names based on SNPs thus remain constant. It is best to quote both. Before 2008, many different naming schemes existed. See conversion table for Y chromosome haplogroups. R1b was once known as HG1 or U18. Origin and dispersal. R1b is a subclade within the much larger Eurasian K2 macrohaplogroup, which is one of the predominant groupings of all the rest of human male lines outside of Africa, and this whole group, along with all of macrohaplogroup F, is believed to have originated in Asia. The point of origin of R1b is thought to lie in Eurasia, most likely in Western Asia. T. Carafet al. estimated the age of R1, the parent of R1b, as 18,500 years before present. Early research focused upon Europe. In 2000, Ornella Semino and colleagues argued that R1b had been in Europe before the end of the Ice Age, and had spread north from an Iberian refuge after the last glacial maximum. Age estimates of R1b in Europe have steadily decreased in more recent studies, at least concerning the majority of R1b, with more recent studies suggesting a Neolithic age or younger. Only Morelli al. have recently attempted to defend a Paleolithic origin for R1b1b2. Irrespective of street coalescence calculations, Chickie al. pointed out that the timing of molecular divergences does not coincide with population splits. The TMRCA of haplogroup R1b dates to its point of origin somewhere in Eurasia, and not its arrival in Western Europe. However, Michael R. Malio argues that the closest branch of R1b is from Iberia and its small subclades found in West Asia. The Near East and Africa are examples of back migration, and not of its origin. Barbara Iredi and colleagues were the first to point out that the distribution of R1b street variants in Europe forms a cline from east to west, which is more consistent with an entry into Europe from Western Asia with the spread of farming. A 2009 paper by Chiarani al. added to this perspective by using R1b as an example of a wave haplogroup distribution, in this case from east to west. The proposal of a southeastern origin of R1b were supported by 3 detailed studies based on large datasets published in 2010. These detected that the earliest subclades of R1b are found in Western Asia and the most recent in Western Europe. While age estimates in these articles are all more recent than the last glacial maximum, all mention the Neolithic, when farming was introduced to Europe from the Middle East as a possible candidate period. Myers et al. and Krushner et al. Both remained undecided on the exact dating of the migration or migrations responsible for this distribution, not ruling out migrations as early as the Mesolithic or as late as Hallstatt, but more probably late Neolithic. They noted that direct evidence from ancient DNA may be needed to resolve these gene flows. Lee et al. Analyzed the ancient DNA of human remains from the late Neolithic Bellbeker site of Kromsdorf, Germany, identifying 2 males as belonging to the Y haplogroup R1b. Analysis of ancient Y DNA from the remains of populations derived from early Neolithic Central and North European LBK settlements have not yet found males belonging to haplogroup R1b. On the other hand, DNA investigation of remains from the Yamna culture of the Pontic-Caspian steppe has turned up several males belonging to haplogroup R1b. Additionally, a 2013 paper by A. Kleasov et al. Suggested that the haplogroup R1b might be attributed to non-Indo-European and agglutinative languages, i.e., Proto-Turkic, Dene-Caucasian or even Sino-Tibetan. Root of R1b tree. This is the basic outline of R1b according to the ISOGG tree as it stood on December 21, 2015.